This has really struck me too. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why.
Well, one, God specifically says through his prophets, right? Like Jeremiah in the Old Testament, he clearly states that your purpose was destined before time. So before you were born, there was a purpose that was assigned to you. Our responsibility to find out what that purpose is. And that is the application we've developed, is to help everyone discover what their purpose is.
Paul, take us back to the spark. What was the pivotal moment in your life that led you to start Purpose Quest?
So it was, I found myself in 2022, right? And I was in a moment where I was so grateful for where life was. Honestly, like I have a blessed life, and I feel like it's one of those things I thank the Lord every day for it. And I mean, I live in one of the most beautiful places in the world, and I get to bless people. I get to impact people around the world every day of my life. And the work we do in ministry and business, it's compounding effect of blessing, right? And yet, you know what? In 2022, I felt something was missing.
In 2022,
Yeah.
what was your, I hate to say your day job, but what was your core focus?
Yeah, I'm the chief strategy officer for Kurt Landry Ministries at kurtlandry.com. It's a ministry that we started back in 2005. Is when I really started getting into nonprofit work. So we're going on to about, I mean, technically it was formed in 2011, I believe.
Yep.
But we have another ministry called House of David, which is more the local church. That was formed in 2004.
And all this is in Oklahoma. That
was all formed in Oklahoma at the time. The spark, though, I mean, I had this kind of like feeling I was supposed to do something else. And I knew that what I was currently doing, that there was something more, and I think that's a lot people will find in their lives, right? That you think you're doing the right thing, and you very well may be. Like, it's all there's no wasted time with God, right? Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. That's the verse. So no matter what you're doing in life, it actually, no matter what's happened in your past, it all works together for good, right? And so what I was doing was good, but I knew something was missing.
And you were CFO for Kurt Landry Ministry?
I was the CSO, Chief Strategy Officer.
Chief Strategy Officer, okay.
Yes.
And your wife is affiliated with Kurt Landry.
My wife is the CEO of
She's the CEO
of the ministry. Yes.
And that's her father.
Yes, her father is the face of the ministry.
What is your wife's name?
Megan.
Megan. I saw her podcast too. Megan.
Yeah. She's got a podcast called Generations at the Table. Her personal calling is tied to basically bringing together, creating sacred places where people can gather together and experience God.
Really?
Creating environments. Yeah.
Churches, houses.
She's really all about the house, the home, with your family, and creating that sacred space. And obviously, we have events all the time. We did 9 events in October, so I'm kind of been on a dead sprint run here. But we have events that we create. We have masterminds that we create where we try to create these moments in time where people get to experience the heart of the Father, right? And that's specifically tied to her. She wants people to experience God, and many times it happens in an environment, right? So what can you do to prepare an environment to encounter God?
Tell me, so I've been going to a home church here in Stuart, Florida, and Jack runs it, his wife, 3 kids are there, his parents are there, his best friend. They all went to Liberty University, and his wife, and it's about 8 to 10 people tops with kids everywhere, basically. And it's so, if I have a question, and he's very well versed, he really should be a pastor at a church, I can ask it immediately.
Yes.
So that's what your wife does. That's what Megan does. She's setting up home churches like that.
Yeah, I mean, she prepares the spaces, whether it's for an event, whether it's her home. I mean, she loves to create an environment you walk into and you can literally feel God there in that environment.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Are you still the CEO or CSO for? Are you still working with?
I am. I mean, so I've worked in different positions in the ministry, starting in 2005. It was honestly a ministry that was out in the middle of nowhere in a field in Oklahoma, right? Like
Yes.
I looked out the window and you see cows. You were to drive down the street, you see cornfields, right? It's a rural area.
What's the big city near you?
Tulsa is the big city, and it's about an hour and a half away, so not very close.
Okay.
So it's it's actually called Fairland, Oklahoma, place you've never heard of before.
Fairland, Oklahoma. And you still live? No, now you're in.
Yeah, it's become, so this is the crazy thing. It started off, it was a house out in the middle of a field, like this big house out in the middle of a field. Has a swimming pool, it has a track around the top of it, like really bizarre situation. And that was the place when my in-laws were driving by it, I think in early 2000s, right? They saw this place and God just told them that is the location that they're supposed to set up their ministry out in the middle of nowhere. Yes.
What, that was 05?
Yes. They should be like, and I questioned it for years. I was like, why aren't you in Dallas where this message would be well received? Why aren't you in, Palm Beach, Florida, right? Why aren't you here? Like, it would have been so much easier had we picked an easier location to be, but we would have never accomplished what the Lord had called us to do. Because here's what happened. When I connected with the ministry, it's another story. We'll have to have another podcast where I go into this, but I was headed to pharmacy school. I'd spent 5 years, got a degree in chemistry, was headed to pharmacy school, and I get engaged to my wife the year 2005. We get engaged, and I have a decision to make. I see this house out in the middle of the field, right? But I hear my father-in-law speak, and he has a message not for that local community. A lot of times there's pastors that minister to a local community. When I heard him speak, I felt it in my spirit. Your message, I told him straight to his eyes. I was like, your message is a message for the nations, right? And so how do you do that from a place like what I just described? I mean, it sounds like an impossibility to reach the nations, right? But 2005 is basically when Facebook started.
That's the beginning.
That was right in the beginning. So we were actually very early adopters. I have a media background in my family. I have Hollywood producers, directors, my family. I have music production. My grandfather was in Motown music producer. I knew something about media. I basically told them, I said, I can help you spread this message around the world. Of course, I was headed to pharmacy school, which I had worked really, and my parents were really proud, right? They're like, my son, first doctor in the family. So proud of me. Big deal. So proud of me. I turned down my acceptance to pharmacy school and I went into ministry full time. I think they were paying me $9.50 an hour to start there.
In 05.
Yes.
That's a crazy story. Now you shared this at, we met at, of course, Altar Call, Ryan Blair's Altar Call, the Momentum Leadership Summit this weekend.
Yes.
And, we probably should share how we got here today, because we briefly, the very first night, I know we're both private clients of Ryan Blair.
Yeah, we're sitting at the table with billionaires. I mean, the guy who sat next to me on the left has a $2 billion fund, the people,
nicest guy in the world too.
Really, you would never suspect, but I mean, I'm just saying we're sitting around some very powerful people with 8-9 figure businesses a year. Everybody there. I mean, that's was kind of the requirement, right, to be in the room. So, I mean, very successful people. And we were just having, really small chat. I think I was talking to Taylor, right, which was the co-founder's wife. She was very spiritual, which actually kind of surprised me.
Me too.
I think it pulled something out of me. Like I was planning on playing it cool.
Yeah, me too. You guys were cracking me up. I watched you talk. You interacted. I was like, because I hate to say I was judging a little bit, but I was sorry. Got a little bit. And Steve Johnson, and Steve. Anyway, but keep going. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so our ministry. I mean, it's a very prophetic ministry, meaning like prophecies talked about in the Bible, and it's a gift, right? It's someone who can see things that others cannot see. Basically, like it would be like a gift. Like I would be able to know things. The Lord would show me things about your life that you've never told anyone before. Yeah. That's the kind of gift my father-in-law has, right? So that's what started the ministry, actually. But separate from that, I'm talking to Taylor here, and she's telling me about her business, and she's like, I said, well, do you know, I mean, I was talking to her. It sounded like she would know something about what I would talk about with prophecy, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's like, well, yeah, I'm actually a coach, and I'm a matchmaking coach. And she's like, I use my gift of prophecy to like help connect people together. She's like, I don't tell anyone that, but
I caught the
now
tail,
I'm sharing it.
I know I caught the tail end of that too.
Right,
And that's when I was intrigued.
Yeah, it was interesting. So yeah, what did you hear that you hear us talking about that?
Well, then being a matchmaker, that's when maybe I was a little judgy, frankly. And then when I heard she's very spiritual, and we were talking to Brian Ferrari,
Yes,
her significant other, and Ryan's partner. It was just great. But can we circle back to your father-in-law has a gift of prophecy?
Yeah.
When he came to you, you asked for his daughter's hand.
Yes.
And because you're going to be a doctor, your family's proud of you. How did that conversation go? I'm just curious because you shared, but I'd love to have the audience hear it.
Yeah, I was leading a youth conference at the time where I was commissioned. I don't know if you ever heard of like Promise Keepers, Coach Phil McCartney. Okay, so they started another organization that was called Road to Jerusalem. It was back in 2004, and they called me and said, would you help put together a team of youth to lead the youth movement here? So they said, you need to invite like 20 different leaders from around the United States to this thing. And I said, sure, yeah, I'd be happy to. I know at this point, I knew kind of all the who's who of who would be great at that. So, including my future wife, right? Megan was one of the 20. So I invited her. I hadn't seen her in years, but I knew because of her dad, right? I knew that she was a gifted young person, and so pulled the 20 together, and we connected at the conference. And yeah, I have to say, the first time I saw her, I hadn't seen her in a couple of years. Like, a lot changes between the ages of like 16 and 20.
Sure.
So the 20-year-old walks in, and I'm just like, oh my, she's gorgeous. Just like, I was like, I fell in love at first sight again. Technically I fell in love before that, but I'm like in college and she's like 16. So
sure.
You move on, but so anyway, we fell in love, and long story short, she's like, you need to come out to Oklahoma to ask my dad permission to date me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, let's go. So I go out to Oklahoma, and one of the first things I talked to her dad, and I'm like, hey, I really respect your daughter, and I would love to date her. I would love your permission to date her. He goes, his response to me was, well, why don't you hop in the truck? Let's go for a drive. Let's go talk.
In Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's like, why don't you hop in the truck? I get in the truck, and we basically drive around for an hour and a half running errands, and he doesn't say a word to me the entire time. Complete silence. So I'm like sweating it, right? I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. Like, this can't end well, right? We finally get back to the house. We pull into the driveway. He turns and looks at me and says, well, what other way could it be? You guys are meant to be together. Let's go inside and pray. So I'm like, whew, I'm like, okay, dodge the bullet. Let's see where this goes. And I'm like, so my emotions, I think I had a shocked look on my face, because when I walked in and saw Megan, her face, like her countenance just was like, oh, like she thought something was wrong.
Sure.
I must have been like shooken up. I was obviously like, she saw me.
Talk for an hour and a half. I would have shaken anyone.
He saw me and basically like thought it was over. Whatever my look on my face was, like, I don't know. I was like in a shock state, I guess is the best way to describe it. I don't know. You'll have to ask her. Anyway, he sits down with us, and the four of us, right? Her mother, she's an only child. So it's the four of us down. We're sitting on the couch, and he starts praying and prophesying over us about our future. And he says, not only can you date my daughter, the two of you will be getting married. You'll be having all these children together. You're going to be doing all of these amazing things in ministry, and you're going to be traveling around the world and blessing people and nations of the world. Like, this ridiculous, like that's what he said. That's prophecy.
Yeah.
And
we were talking in the car on the way here.
Now, the other side of prophecy is it needs to come to pass, or you need to see a manifestation of that. And I'll say this, I'll testify right now. Everything he spoke over us in 2005 has happened and beyond. So how do you explain that?
God, right? So I was hoping what we could do today, because God brought you here today. So we're sitting, there's not one person in this room.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to be here.
No, but God made sure it happened. So I get I saw you called last night around 9:00 because we said goodbye.
We were at this conference. We said goodbye. We had an awesome time.
I did. It was great getting to know you from day one. Every day was amazing, right?
Yeah.
Being around people that are building God-centered companies. And I got to share our vision of My Living Media with you is to take media back from the adversary for the kingdom, basically. And I talked about Cap Chatfield, and we just had Ryan Blair here on our podcast. But you got to share about your app, about identity. And I was hoping, I happen to have your PowerPoint printed out in front of me, and I was hoping you could start with that and give the presentation that you gave at the Altar Call conference just yesterday morning, actually. Sure. And so I thought that'd be a great way to start. And I'll interject where applicable. We met the very first night. We were all kind of getting to know each other. Obviously, that's a very heady room we were in that first night. They had a special dinner, which was great. And I was just grateful to be in. God has put me in rooms that, frankly, I probably shouldn't be in. But because of this journey God has us on at My Living Media and you on, he's putting us in these rooms to learn and grow. And identity has been something that I had a good friend of mine, his wife, who I think Mario Aguilar, I've shared with you, says, Glenn, I need to give you this book. I feel it's on my heart. God's put it on my heart. David perceived he was king. Well, your father-in-law interviewed the author of that book. And when I gave it to Ryan Blair, he's like, oh, these are one of my, his son-in-law is one of my clients and different things. Wow. And so as there's no coincidence in life, it's really kind of interesting. So I was like, oh, this is one of those open doors. I have to get to know Paul here better. And so, just to start, so I did get that call last night from, I didn't see you had called me, but so you caught your plane on time yesterday, right? Yeah. We thought you were going to be here next month.
I was headed to Pensacola last night on a plane. And we get all the way to Pensacola, getting ready to start the descend. Right?
So you left Miami you're hour and a half, 2 hours in the air.
Yes, I think it was an hour and a half in the air, and we're getting ready. We're in the very last, getting ready to start the descent. And the guy comes on and says, I'm sorry, but the weather is low or something. The way he described it, I had never heard that excuse before because I looked out my window and it was clear. So immediately I'm like, what's going on here? Something they're not telling us. But I mean, when you say weather, you end up not getting, hotels or vouchers or anything right?
Yeah.
So it's a good thing for them to say from that perspective, but something was going on because they should have easily been able to descend. I mean, I've heard of not taking off through a low ceiling, but descend, I mean, so anyway, it was very rare. And even the guy next to me said, have you ever heard that before? I've traveled a lot.
And he's a military guy, right?
Military guy, yeah. I've never heard that before. So we literally turn around and fly back to Miami. I land, there's 100 people trying to rebook their flights. The first flight they can get me out on is tonight at 5:45. So I mean, I have the whole day today, you know, where I'm just basically I had nothing planned. And so I sent you that message last night, just saying I was more looking to say, hey, what should I do in Miami while I'm here for a day? And anyway, I ended up just heading down to South Beach, getting a nice beach by the or a nice hotel by the beach, and just wanted to relax, process what we just learned at Altar Call. Right, we just spent 4 days overloaded on information, so I just was gonna sit at the beach, stare out at the water and process, do some self-reflection, and I'm sitting there, we're talking. We even talked. You and
I spoke on the phone.
It would have been fun to film something today, but
I felt compelled.
You had a really busy day. You didn't really have time to do it today. And I was like, I'm going to head down to the beach. I got a place. I'm just going to spend the day at the beach and looking forward to filming next time. So then I get off the phone and, this little coffee makers, is it Lazzazo? It's the little Italian coffee with the pods. So
can I regress for a minute? I think on our call first thing in the morning, and just to fast track a little bit, is that I said, I feel like we're supposed to probably film today, but it's a really busy day. We'll do it when you're here in Jupiter, right?
And then you got here in a couple months.
Yeah. Then I think you went to the beach and got quiet with God.
No, I never made it. I did it in my room, my hotel room. I was praying, reading, and just seeking the Lord, right? And then I usually wait a little bit to maybe like 30 minutes to have a coffee in the morning. I drink water and then I drink coffee a little later. And basically I go over to this coffee maker, Lizazo, put the pot in. And it's basically, they have two settings. They have the espresso shot or they have the, I think it's Lungo or Longo. And it's basically like a quarter cup, you know?
Yep.
Anyway, I stick the cup under, I'm on my phone, I'm like scrolling through, the coffee's filling up. And all of a sudden, the coffee starts just overflowing the glass. I'm looking down at it like shocked. There's no way the hotel has cups that can't handle the setting on the coffee maker. Like I've never, I've been in a lot of hotels. Like that's never happened to me. And it's just overflowing coffee out of the machine onto the side of my suitcase, my clothes, all my stuff's right there. It's going over the edge, and then it stops. And so I'm like, and I'm trying to stop it and catch it, and it's just going everywhere. And, you know, my first inclination was like, you know, swearing in my head, right? Like, what in the world is going on here? I may have said something out loud. But basically, it's like the Lord reminded me of Psalm 23, and your cup overflows. Like the Lord just spoke to me in that moment. And then I said, I called you back, and I was like, hey, I called Chris, like, I think we need to film today. I think that we're supposed to do this.
I feel, you know,
we're overflowing, and we need to share what's happening here on camera.
I talked to my wife. I was talking to Anna this morning, and I was like, you know what? I hope I'm not being disobedient this morning, because I feel like, you know, who turns a plane? I think that's a God thing. The plane was turned around. And then I look down and I see a text from Chris Carnes, and we've been really burning both ends of the candle, and we all needed kind of a day, right? You did too.
Just want to sit at the beach.
Yeah, same thing. And then I'm like, God put it on your heart. You talk to Chris. I talk to you. Then Chris calls me, and everyone's a little stressed. He's like, well, you got to get here now because I'm notoriously late.
Oh, yeah. It's like a 2-hour Uber ride for me. Yeah. We would have a limited amount of time here to film today. Like we're pushing the clock, and basically then I got to take a 2-hour ride back. Like none of it made sense, but here we are.
And I agree. So, you know, like Ryan Blair said, it's like a scavenger hunt, right? So it wasn't just what we learned, but it's the associations, and having you on the podcast is great. So that being said, why don't we, if you want to start, I was going to read the first two questions from your PowerPoint to you, and then kind of ask you what they meant, and then I'll have you go into what you're currently launching, which is, the name of your current project is?
My Purpose Quest.
MyPurposeQuest.com, which is the app where people find their purpose. And
it's a direct, when I got that why statement, right, for myself, and I got that locked in, my answer to that was to take action. And how do I accomplish what this purpose statement is? Because I mean, I built companies, I built products. Like I know how to build things. But when I saw my why statement, my immediate question is, how do I fulfill this? And my purpose quest is the direct fulfillment of my purpose statement, meaning it is an application that others can go through, answer a bunch of self-reflective questions. It's a gamified experience, so you can take it, you can go through it, take as much time as you need to answer the questions. Your progress is saved. Get quiet, answer some questions.
All on your Purpose Quest app, which is AI driven, correct?
Yes. So the AI part of it is that we have, it addresses all of the ministry context. This is the exciting part. So it first creates, you answer the questions, it creates your purpose statement for you, which I have to say, when people see their purpose statement for the first time, it does something in you. Like there's something about it that it just lights you up. You're like, wow, you get the moment of clarity for the first time.
Can I reflect on that too? So that first night at dinner, Thursday night, you heard what I said, this is the mission for My Living Media. And you're like, you didn't say I have an app for you, but what you did do is you sent me the app and a few of your podcasts, your wife's podcast. Yeah. And I think we both said, we met for a reason. God brought us together here. Yeah. And so keep going. And I'll read these later because we've jumped into maybe I should read these real quick. The why matters here. Because is that where we're at?
Yeah.
So on your PowerPoint yesterday, which I love at Altar Call, they start Sunday conference with church service.
Yeah, they had a church service there.
Which is all these secular businesses, all very focused on bottom line revenue, marketing and everything. And then
Pastor Bill, the head coach.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
You know, this guy's like 7 feet tall, like sweet, like one of the most beautiful men. Anyway,
he was great.
Just like he has a heart, like his heart is just gold, right?
Yes.
He picks me, like he comes up to me the night before and is like, hey, Paul, I just really feel like, you know, you're supposed to share tomorrow at the Sunday service. Do you by chance have anything you could share about?
Wow. So that wasn't, wow.
No, it was the night before. And I said, well, it just so happens I just launched an application on December 2nd. How about I talk about purpose?
Love it.
And that's exactly what I did. He gave me 5 minutes and I apologize. I may have taken 10. I'll have to apologize.
I thought it was phenomenal. I think we were engaged in the audience, so it was great to hear it. Yeah. So I'm going to read your why matters just on your PowerPoint that you had up on the big screen there at Altar Call with Ryan Blair's conference. So before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I sanctified you. Jeremiah 1:5.
Yeah.
And then you also wrote, and I'll have you unpack this for us, this has really struck me too, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Mark Twain.
Yeah.
So what do those mean to you? Why are those important?
Well, one, God specifically says through his prophets, right? Like Jeremiah in the Old Testament, he clearly states that your purpose was destined before time. So before you were born, there was a purpose that was assigned to you. Every person in the world, right? Everybody that is alive, God has done that. There's a purpose. Like what you were saying, how Ryan mentioned the scavenger hunt, it is our responsibility to find out what that purpose is. And that is the application we've developed, is to help everyone discover what their purpose is so that they can have a roadmap. And this is the AI part.
Yeah.
We can now develop tools like purpose-driven goals, habits, things to help you stay on track in daily devotionals, right? That are written specifically for you. So the AI is actually addressing it. It looks at obviously your questions, how you answered those questions, right? And we have 5 quests that are inside of the platform. You go through those quests, you answer a bunch of self-reflective questions, and then it writes out these statements for you. Once that's finished, we begin to tailor customized, personalized information directly back to you every day. Meaning, every day you wake up, there's a devotional waiting for you. That's unlike when you're reading a book or an article where I do this, right? Where you kind of get, your mind starts going, you get sidetracked. You're like, oh, that's a good nugget. Like you read a little bit more. Oh, I like that. You may write down a note, right? This is different. This is completely different. This is personalized messaging at a whole new level. I believe what we're seeing here is the future of personalized communication. And what we are doing is we are tailoring specific messaging that ties 100% into your purpose. And we're pulling from all of our content that we've developed for the past 15 years. We've been banking content, right? We were doing social media and long-form podcasts like 2007.
When it wasn't cool.
This was before, it didn't
That's with
like that.
Kurt Landry Ministries.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've been collecting content. So I have this bank of spiritual content that maybe few in the world have, because our tagline for the ministry, Kurt Landry Ministries, is unlocking kingdom destiny.
Right. I feel, yes, and I shared a little bit of my testimony with you in the car, and not to go there, but God put this 20-year plan in front of me, and I'm thinking, well, how am I supposed to get there? We're here today. And so you're exactly what I was searching for the roadmap of how do I get from where I'm at, this media company here in South Florida, to where we're building up to $100 million and $500 million and more to help really change the world. And you mentioned to take media back from the adversary for the kingdom. Well, that's a pretty big task.
Yeah.
I need a roadmap.
Yeah.
Enter from stage left, Paul Marcelino on Thursday night, sending me the app, sending me the Kurt Landry Ministry clip, sending me your wife's podcast.
Yeah.
And somehow that was communicated, and we were there a long time.
Yeah. Well, again, we were sitting at the table, if you remember, right?
Yeah.
And I'm having this spiritual conversation with the girl next to me, and I was planning on playing it cool, right? I'm in an environment with 8+ figure companies a year, and I mean, I'm not a billionaire sitting next to me. Like I'm not planning to, go crazy spiritual here at this, at this table. But you asked a very spiritual question of me while you overheard the conversation, so you kind of started it.
Yeah. Well, I asked you, I guess to be specific, so I asked you about generational curses, in the Bible, what that meant. And you said a prayer over me, and I was there with Steve Johnson, is my new business partner.
I was like, hey, I was explaining it to you, and then I said, well, why don't we just do it right now at the table, and let me just pray for you, and let's just break off these generational curses that, because they are, first of all, I was like, they are real, this is a very real thing. There's an author called, his name is Robert Henderson. He spoke many times with us, like we're close friends with the guy. That's his entire ministry is focused on what you're talking about. So I'm actually very experienced and knowledgeable. I've read all his books. Like I understand a lot about this concept.
I think you gave me, yes, it was great. And then you prayed over me, and it was, and we repeated what you said. And I was there with Sean, the guy to the right of me. Yeah. It was a heady table, and everyone jumped in.
I mean, I was just praying for you. And then all of a sudden the whole table was repeating every word I said. I mean, because it's actually something that everyone should, look at and be doing every day. Like there's prayers we can say every day to sort of reset ourselves from whatever our generations before us. The Bible talks about that, the sins of the fathers, right?
Yeah.
Go on to the third and fourth generation, And so, but when you flip that around and you cut off those curses and you embrace the blessings, you're blessed for 1,000 generations in front, going forward.
Yes.
So, I mean, why wouldn't we every day just like make sure we're good, with the Lord? Let's reset every day. Let's ask for forgiveness. Let's break off the generational curses, right?
It was awesome.
So I just did it with you right there at the table.
That Robert Henderson, and you had me operating in the courts of heaven.
Yeah. In fact, I can get you set up to do a podcast with him. He'll blow your mind.
I would love to hear more about that. And I just downloaded that, actually. It finally came through. But anyway, that's how it started. And so we'll get back to your Purpose Quest app. And if you want to start maybe with we can go through the next, was reflection. I think for me, that's a good question to ask. For me, it's signal versus noise, right? And so when I know I have these 3 to 5 things to do today to help grow my living media for the kingdom, to help grow and do things, I would be very laser focused on that more so than, because I'd have my roadmap, and that is, although it sounds easy, it's kind of like working out. Well, if you get up early and you work out and you eat clean, you can be lean and have a 6-pack. Well, very difficult to do in the real world.
No, I'll say this, like in the application, what we do is part of what you get as your deliverable, we generate for you what we're calling purpose goals, right? Which is, it's a list of goals that were really turned into habits, what you're talking about, right? Building daily routines, habits, goals. But these are not normal goals like what you would normally think of, like for your company or your personal life. These are purpose aligned goals. So we actually generate a list, and we call it a purpose plan. We just generate a list of goals that are all fully aligned with your purpose and what you're called to do. So it gets you thinking, like what you said, on what you should be doing that are aligned with your purpose. And then you also know the opposite. What is it that I'm doing in my life that's not aligned?
Yeah. Yes, for sure. As simple as when I was talking to Ryan Blair, it was maybe a few weeks ago. It's as simple as drinking a cup of coffee at 6, 7, 8 at night, knowing you're not going to get good sleep, which sends you off the next day, which I clearly did at the conference. Now I think about it. But those little things make a difference.
We had no choice. We had it morning to night.
It really was.
Yeah. Information.
Well, on one of your slides, I'll just read this. You said, Abraham kept the charge, Genesis 26:5. I will bless all the nations of the earth through your offspring, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So part of Kurt Landry Ministries, right? We are the purpose of that organization is actually Ephesians 2:15, which is, one new man shall be created from the two, meaning Jew and Gentile, right, will come together. This is the Apostle Paul, New Testament, right? Yeah. He's talking about the two shall become one, the new man, the new humanity. that's God's intention for our humanity, right? That's what he wants to see happen, right?
Yes.
Before he returns. So when you look at it from that perspective, what we do is we educate we do millions of dollars of humanitarian aid to the nation of Israel and other nations. I mean,
Yes.
we follow the biblical mandate of, right, first Jerusalem first, then Judea and Samaria, then to all ends of the earth. So we follow that biblical model in Kurt Landry Ministries. And then we also follow the whole idea of what you were talking about here, which is when you talk about educating, Kurt Landry Ministries is educating on the Hebrew roots of the faith. We educate the church. That's the main calling, right? We educate the church on the Hebrew roots of the faith. Well, what is this? I mean, you just quoted something from Genesis, the very first book in the Bible. Abraham, who is the father of nations, right? He had his son Isaac, which represents the Jewish people, right? Turned into the Jewish people. You have his son Ishmael, which was the heir of all of the Arab countries, right?
Yes.
So have the nations of the earth been blessed by the Jewish people? Like his sons, his heirs, have they been blessed?
Yes.
Yes. Like Israel has created tremendous innovation across every area of medical and health and technology. I mean, today they are called the startup nation because it's constant innovation of blessing, right? You can't pick up a cell phone. Like a cell phone would not work if it didn't have Israeli technology and the chips that it literally, if you start looking how the nations of the earth have been blessed, it affects like everything around us. There's innovation in every piece of technology, right? So
yeah,
I guess
even farming. I mean, I went to Israel with my church, and they've turned the desert green. It's shocking. I couldn't even explain it. You have to see it to believe it.
Another company that I haven't even told you about that we started is called My Olive Tree, and we've planted tens of thousands of olive trees throughout the Negev desert, turning it green. So we're very involved. You just brought it up.
Is it hydroculture?
It's a permaculture is how they turn the desert from sand to rich soil. So that's it's another fascinating.
It's a miracle. If you look at it, it's literally a miracle.
And if you look on satellite images of the nation of Israel from 50 years ago, 100 years ago, like you can see the green line just moves every year. It gets further and further in the desert. It's a constant. There's the founding fathers of Israel, David Ben-Gurion. He literally could have done anything with his life, right? He was the prime minister. He ran. What did he do? He moved out to the desert because he said this is the future of Israel. And he lived in the middle of the desert. You can look it up today. It's called Sde Boker. It's an amazing. I've been there. It's an amazing history. But anyway, I want to get back to the scripture because this is Genesis, right? So the Hebrew roots of the faith. What does this verse talk about? He talked about statutes. Okay, what is statutes? That's the wisdom of the Bible, right? The wisdom. Think about Proverbs, Solomon, the Bible, right? All of this wisdom, statutes. So Abraham followed the statutes. He followed the laws and commandments, which are pretty straightforward. We know what those are. But then there's this word charge. What is that? And so this is an example of what we talk about in Kurt Landry Ministries. We dive in because a lot of people read the Old Testament and they're like, none of this is applicable.
Yes.
But when you read a scripture like that, charge, you look up that word in Hebrew. The name of that word is mishmeret.
Okay.
Mishmeret is divine charge, but it's also has to do with your divine calling. This is something that, back to the verse in Jeremiah, God formed you, right? Or he ordained your purpose before you were born. So this charge has something to do with the divine calling that God put on your life before you were born. And Abraham, right? He blessed the nations of the earth because this was one of the components that he fulfilled. And the reality is we all have a mishmeret to fulfill. And the beautiful thing is it's in the application. We actually generate your mishmeret statement.
I love it.
Get it.
So I can't wait to finish your app. I like when I drop you off at the airport, I'm doing it. It is deep.
Yeah.
So this mishmeret, thank you for pronouncing that. I would have butchered that one. Mishmeret, your charge, a sacred duty, trust, stewardship.
No, it's okay. This is real. This is so real, right? What we're dealing with. This is something so sacred to God. And he is literally giving us the ability to identify. This application helps people identify, right, what their sacred duty is that they need to accomplish on earth, right, in order to fulfill what we're called to do. I mean, how beautiful is that we're helping people identify this? Because there's one thing that we're going to be held accountable. Everyone's going to be held accountable for not doing this. It's not something you can outsource to somebody else, right? It's not something you can.
For sure. I see it tearing up over there. So we did this yesterday on the floor.
Yeah.
I told you, I mean,
it's emotional because we're dealing with something like this is deep.
It is deep
material that, you know, most people don't take the time to think about, but it's never been easier than to do it right now through mypurposequest.com. You can find this out and then have a roadmap, right? A purpose plan to begin to carry it out together.
I love it. Your assignment in action, calling family work, discipleship, guard it, don't outsource it.
Right.
What does that mean?
Yeah, like I was saying, it's this is not something everyone has. Everyone has a mishmeret, and it's for you to fulfill. You can't. No one else is going to do this for you. It's your responsibility. So God destined this before you were born, and it's like the scavenger hunt. It's your responsibility to find it, right?
Yes.
You can't assign that to someone else to do. Like no one can do this for you except for you.
Yes.
So everyone has the same responsibility. Everyone needs to find what that purpose is that God ordained before time for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they need to carry it out. The application, right? My Purpose Quest, that is what that was designed to do, to help people shortcut the path to finding out what that is. And then we give them a roadmap of how to carry it out. Like it doesn't get any simpler. There's never been, because of AI and what we have, this technology, right? And part of my calling, you remember, it's the sacred, my mishmeret, the sacred innovation between innovation and purpose discovery. And that's what we've created here with Purpose Quest.
Can you say that one more time? Let me hear.
It's the divine intersection, right, between innovation and purpose discovery. So what are we talking about? AI is innovation. Like AI is the most powerful tool that we have right now available in humanity. Yes. It's one of the most transformative technologies. We've combined that with, all of this content, right, that we've developed. Media, we're back to media, right? We had a call for media back in 2005. We knew we had to do it. I mean, the only way we were able to spread this was through media, and media is the answer to also fulfill the biblical mandate of reaching the four corners of the earth, meaning we can get the message to all peoples and all places. Yes. We've never had an opportunity before now to do that. Imagine, so what we're carrying here and what you're carrying, right? By bringing together innovation, purpose discovery through media, we can spread this message around the whole world.
All four corners of the earth.
Yes. And our vision is for people to reach, we want to reach hundreds of millions of people. We want them to discover their purpose and walk it out every day. That is the vision of My Purpose Quest.
So this next slide is activation, and it just says all say. So would you want to say this prayer now? And I got it right here for you.
Yeah. If you're interested in going through your own journey of purpose discovery, I just want you to close your eyes and say these words with me. I'll say them slowly, okay? Father, I acknowledge that you set me forth according to your purpose. I embrace my sacred charge. Empower me to run my course with endurance and joy until my life becomes a continual offering before you. Amen.
Amen. I love it. So we're going to have you back on our podcast in next month because you're going to be locally here for some donors.